The following program is sponsored by Mike Gray with Morris Williams Realty. Views and opinions expressed are not those of this station, its owners, staff, or management. Now, the Golden State Report with Mike, Amy, and Dave.
Welcome, everybody. You are listening to the Golden State Report, heard every weekend on AM 1380. I'm Mike Gray with Morris Williams Realty, and so happy that you have tuned in this week and are part of our listening family out there in the Sacramento Valley. In the studio, I have with me my two great companions. I have Amy Debusk from American Pacific Mortgage.
Hello, Mike.
And David Stone from the Sierra Consulting Group.
You know, that disclaimer they play at the beginning, and they say that the things we talk about are not the views of the people at this station. I think they probably should be their views.
Well, they don't trust me.
They seem really nice to me when we come in to do the show. They're very happy to see us, and they seem really positive.
Just in case Amy talks too much, they got to have a disclaimer, I think.
I never talk too much.
Yeah.
Like that.
I resemble those words.
No, I need to
That's
move.
what they say.
I need to move a little bit further away from Amy during the studio because I'm afraid lightning's
going to strike right through the station. So, Mike, what's going on in the real estate market right now? Is it a broken record?
Yeah, it's a broken
record. What's going on with
it
now?
Amy will talk a little bit more about this in the second segment, but interest rates kind of shot back up.
Yeah.
And we expected kind of a surge in the fall, and we saw the beginning of it in September. And but then right around the second weekend in October, it fizzled out pretty fast.
The wind came in and blew out the candle, huh?
It did. We've had a real quiet fall. And it's the same thing I have said almost the entire year of 2024 and the second half of 2023, when interest rates kind of moved up above that 5.5 to 6.5, and now they're just a little bit over 7%. People who have sellers who have interest rates in the 2s, 3s, low 4s,
yeah,
they are not motivated at all to to downsize, upsize, whatever the issues are. You know what? That interest rate's really nice to have, and I'm going to hang on to it. And so our inventory is still really light. There are homes for sale, but if they have been on the market for more than 14 or 21 days, there's a reason they're on the market. Either location, amenities, price. They don't show well, but there's a reason they're on the market.
Right.
So they're tired listings.
Mm-hmm.
The new listings are few and far between, and we're going to ride out 2024 with that same type of trend until hopefully the beginning of 2025, and then we'll start moving into our hot season again. And I think Amy has some good news about interest rates, what she thinks might happen in the beginning of 2025. But for the rest of 2024, November here, and then next month in December, it'll be fairly quiet.
Yeah. Well, if people, we all still have buyers, right?
Oh, yes.
So if buyers are out there and they're like, look, I need to figure out what to do. What are some of the things that they should be doing? Or maybe we can turn it around and say, what are some of the mistakes?
How about the top mistakes
what
mistakes
mistakes
first-time home buyers make?
Amy has 5 mistakes.
Count them down.
And I have experienced every one of these.
Oh, really?
Right? Yes, Amy and I were talking about this, but I have had buyers walk through this, and I can talk until I'm blue in the face, but I have had buyers walk through and just fall into the trap of all 5 of the mistakes that first-time home buyers can make. Right?
So if you're a buyer, you should be paying attention to find out what things you do not want to do.
Right. And the number one mistake, it really has 2 parts to it. The number one mistake is they're trying to time the market.
Yes.
I
want to wait until the market. I want to wait until real estate prices go down.
Yeah, I want to buy my house at the lowest possible point in the last 10 years.
The perfect time.
The perfect time. And you know what the problem with that is? You only know when it was the perfect time. You don't know when it is the perfect time.
It's always in the rear view mirror.
It is.
Like trying to time a stock, David?
Hey, when you drive down the street and you're trying to get from one place to the next, do you just look in your rearview mirror the whole time, or do you look forward? Let's look forward. Just otherwise you get in a crash, right?
Well, these buyers are looking forward. They're just looking for the big dip. All right.
Yeah.
And then when the market does go down, they think, it might go down further. It might go down further.
Right. It's too late.
I don't know if we're ready to pull the trigger. And then they try and time the interest rate.
Yep. And they say, well, I'll just wait till the interest rates come down a bit lower. Now, there are some buyers that need to wait. All right,
Yeah.
Just
because they cannot qualify for a house with today's interest
Correct,
rates,
right.
and that's a real challenge. And
but
I
have,
get that.
Yeah, but I have plenty of buyers too. It would work at our budget at this interest rate, but we're going to wait until let's say interest rates are at 7%. We're going to wait till interest rates fall down to 5.5%. Well, here's the issue with that. Let's say you bought today at 7%, and it does fit into your budget. All right, and 5.5% is a year away. I'm just pulling those dates out of the air.
Right.
Well, you've lost appreciation in your property for 1 year. Mm-hmm. You've lost the use of that property, the enjoyment of that property for 1 year. You've been continual renting. And the fact that a year from now, when interest rates do drop to 5.5%, that house is probably appreciated. Then the final thing that works against you is that if interest rates drop to 5.5%, there are probably a few more buyers out there that now qualify and now are feeling just like you, and there's more competition for the existing inventory that is more expensive.
And what's the worst thing that can happen to somebody making an offer on a house? That they are dealing with other offers on the same house.
Yeah, you always want to be the only offer on the table. When one seller, one buyer, and we can find some common ground, everybody kind of moves ahead, and we make the deal work. But when you have one seller and 6 buyers, the seller's really happy.
It's called a bidding war.
It is. All right.
So you always end up spending more money.
Yeah.
Right.
The third thing, and this happens, maybe 10 to 15% of the time, they start looking at houses, and then they see houses that maybe are just a bit more than what they really need. And then they start looking at bigger houses, and they kind of move beyond what their budget really should allow, in my opinion. I don't make that decision. That's their discussion with you, Amy, and what. But sometimes people, they buy more house than what they need.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or they spend more than what they really should.
Yes.
Because and they find out that they're house poor.
Right.
After they buy the house.
Correct.
Yeah.
The next one, number 4, is, and this one happens not too often with me because I work with Amy, and Amy does a great job with this. They're just not aware, for a first-time home buyer, they're not aware of all the possible first-time buyer financing
100%.
assisted programs that are out there.
100%. Well, and in years past, down payment assistance programs were frowned upon. Very hard to get your offer accepted on a down payment assistance program because sellers didn't want to deal with, the length of time it took to process the loan for that down payment assistance program, and maybe thought that it was a riskier offer. So, but now I'm seeing that my first-time home buyers with down payment assistance offers are getting their offers accepted.
Mm-hmm. And so they're just not aware of it. So they need to be working with the lender. And then kind of a sub point of that is that sometimes there are buyers that look before they've talked to a lender.
Yeah.
And so hence they have we were pre-approved for this amount in 2014. Yeah, that pre-approval might be a bit dated right now.
It's a little stale.
Right.
So you want to make sure that you know exactly. You want to be working with the lender so you are ready to go, all guns firing, if you happen to find the house that does meet all your needs.
And you need to know the numbers first.
Right.
Like, you absolutely need to know, okay, you qualify for $500,000, not $525,000.
Right. And then oftentimes, too, like they'll say, well, Mike, have you ever showed homes to buyers who have not talked with the lender yet? Yeah, I'll show you 1 or 2 homes just to meet with you for a time.
Sure.
So you can understand how I work. I can understand who you are. And then if you want to go out again, before we go out the second time, I will make sure that they've talked to Amy.
Yeah.
And they've had a pretty thorough discussion. And before I take them out again, Amy and I have had a discussion.
Well, and you don't see this because you don't allow this into your business. However, I am the recipient of this occasionally, where I come across a buyer that's in contract that has not gotten pre-approved for their home loan yet, and they're already in contract, and then we're scrambling to try and see if they qualify. And there's been times when I've had realtors get them into contract without a pre-approval letter. I don't know how that happened, but it has. And guess what? They don't qualify.
Mm-hmm. For example, if I have a listing agent and an agent represented a buyer that had not been pre-approved and they wrote the offer, that offer would not be presented.
No.
I'll say, well, who's your lender? Well, we don't have one yet. Well, do you have a pre-approval letter? Nope. Call me when you do.
Yeah.
I'm not going to waste my seller's time.
Absolutely.
And that's just not wasting my time or my seller's time and getting their hopes up. Hey, we got an offer coming in. Yeah, but they haven't been pre-approved yet. And those types of practices are in the past, or you're working with an agent who doesn't really know what they're doing.
Or they get pre-qualified with a fintech lender online, and
Right.
Anybody can get pre-qualified just by filling out a little blurb online, and that is not a pre-approval. And I can't count how many buyers have come to me pre-qualified with an online lender pre-approval pre-qual letter where I can't get them pre-approved for a real loan.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, if you have any questions about if you're a buyer thinking, I didn't know some of these things, I'd like to talk to somebody about that, give us a call, 530-431-8586. Again, 530-431-8586. We're going to continue this discussion right after this short break. Please stay tuned.